Welcome to Unapologetically Badass, the podcast for women over 40 who are done dimming their light. I'm your host, Renee Carbone-Fleming, coach, queen, and master of the midlife glow up. Solo chats, epic guests, no filter. Let's freaking go. Hello, and welcome back to Unapologetically Badass, the podcast for women who are done playing small, done asking permission, and done pretending they don't want more. More money, more power, more visibility, more impact, more respect. Because here's the truth. If you are not being seen, you are being overlooked. And if you are being overlooked and are being underpaid. And today's guest, today's conversation is one I know many of you need right now. I'm sitting down with Cailen Ascher, a sacred business mentor for coaches who has built, get this, a $500,000 business working within school hours without hustle culture, burnout, or sacrificing who she is. Cailen teaches a powerful blend of soul, strategy, and self-leadership, helping women stop chasing success and start leading their business from identity, alignment, and internal trust. If you've been craving a business that actually reflects who you're becoming, not who you used to be, this episode is going to shift how you think about growth, success, and what's truly possible. So welcome to Unapologetically Badass, Cailen. Nice to have you.
Oh, thank you so much, Renee. I'm really excited for our conversation today.
Yes. So tell us a little bit more about who you are outside of my intro.
Yes, that was a beautiful intro. Thank you so much. So I've been a business coach for over 10 years now. Before that, I was a yoga teacher, and that was sort of my intro into coaching. I was leading my yoga classes and really brought a business mind to it. I had a website. I was starting, my brand. I was pitching myself. And the other teachers who were much more established than I was came to me and said, hey, we've just been relying on the studios to fill our classes. You're doing it differently. Like, help us out. And so that's how I started in the business coaching space. So that's why I find it so important to bring those two halves together of that internal alignment, because that was from my yoga background, and then the business strategy, because we can't just sit around meditating all day thinking we're going to grow these epic businesses. We do have to move our feet. We have to take action. We have to test and try things. And so bringing those two halves together, that's what's been working for me in my own business, is what works for my clients. And I really feel like it's a feminine approach to building a business, whereas the masculine and the push and the hustle and strategy for strategy's sake, it doesn't jive for women. We need to find that balance. And so I love that you are all about helping women reclaim their power and step back into that drive, because it's so potent and powerful when women come back to themselves and build their businesses from that place.
Exactly. And that's the thing is, so often, again, I talk about expectations, and I don't know whether or not these are expectations we put on ourselves or other people have put on us. But yes, that masculine energy. And so when we release that and go, no, I'm a powerful fucking woman. I'm a queen. I am unapologetically badass. This is who I am. And once we claim our authentic self, then it's like, oh my gosh, there's no turning back. There's hello. So how do you help your clients get to that point where they are being authentic to themselves?
Yes. I think just like with any muscle, it needs consistent practice. It needs consistent exercising. And so I am a huge advocate for having daily silence, sacred space for you to come back to yourself. That's how I start every business day. Before I touch my computer or, get into my calendar or my emails, I have an altar in my office. I sit there with candles lit, with music playing, and I just release all of the noise and the heaviness in my head. And the practice looks different for everybody, but I think having that time to come back to ourselves, to remember what juices us up, what gets us going, why we started these businesses in the first place, what is the movement that we are here to lead, and then coming into our business day. And, it's just like everything you create is so much more potent and powerful, so much more magnetic when we are coming from that authentically aligned place. And also in today's business culture with the proliferation of AI, which I think is a valuable tool,
Mhm.
but the marketing and the messaging gets watered down when people are just copying and pasting things that ChatGPT is spitting out. When we come back into ourselves and we remember like how amazing we are,
Yep.
our voice sounds distinct, our offers become unique and undeniable. We just really come into our own, and our business becomes unparalleled because no one else sounds or looks or feels exactly like us.
Exactly. That's what makes us true to who we are. And it's important, like you said, mentioned to AI, it's so important. And I teach people how to train their GPT because the information it gives us is only as good as we give it. And if it doesn't know who we are, it's just going to split. It's just going to give us, you know, bland messaging, or it's going to be hyped up, but they don't know who we are. We have to teach it who we are, what our goals are, our personality, our ideal client, all of that. It takes time to teach GPT. And with with AI taking over so many spaces, there's actually an opportunity. A lot of people are worried about, their income and it taking over their jobs, but I look at it as an opportunity. And I think that's probably you're shaking your head. As entrepreneurs, we see obstacles as an opportunity, right? And so I look at it going, this is a great opportunity for everyone to build their personal brand, no matter what industry they are in, because AI with this takeover, we know that there's going to be opportunities for contractual work, for entrepreneurs to make extra money. There's going to be multiple streams of income, which it's all my jam. But, how do you help people understand that in your role and with your clients?
Yes, it's a really interesting relationship that we didn't even have to think about a year
No.
ago, two
Yep.
years ago, how the role AI is playing in our businesses. Something that I just recently did, I launched a new program and I built myself a custom GPT that's trained on my approach, my frameworks, my methodology, so that the women in the program are supported by something that I've curated intentionally for them rather than just going to like the wild west of AI. And so I agree. I think it's so important that we use it intentionally and with integrity, and that we're really not just taking, I mean, even that with which I've custom curated, I would never take what it spits out and use it verbatim. We still want to make sure we're filtering it through our lens, our
Yeah.
human lens, and bringing story into it and specific examples. I think that's something that we really lack with the AI culture is everything gets watered down because it's not human and it hasn't lived a life of experience and trials and tribulations and all of these really relatable moments. And so it's sort of just like even keel what it spits out. You need to bring that depth and that nuance to it. And when you do, it's amazing because you can, I mean, I remember I write all my own emails and all my own marketing, that's really important to me. And now I can get the bones really quickly from AI and
Right.
then polish them up. Where before everything was from scratch.
Yeah.
So where I had to work from something I created before. So I think there's so much opportunity. And as you said, so much opportunity for developing a really powerful personal brand
Yeah.
because the people that are going to not just survive, but thrive are the people who are going to be truly differentiated from the masses and the noise on Instagram and social media and all of these places where people are sounding more and more similar because they're using AI all together.
Mhm.
And then there's going to be this wide open blue ocean of space for those people who are willing to really take a stand for what's important to them and share their truth, even if it's a little polarizing.
Right, right. And I love that you've also trained and created GPTs. I've had some fun doing that for branding and for motivational AI. It's like having me in your pocket going like, come on, you can fucking do it. Like I've got the motivational one. So it is fun. And when I shared that, I don't know if you have children, but when I share that with my with my family, I'm like, now I am immortalized. Like even after I'm gone, you could be like, Mom, and I'll be like, don't even freaking do it. So it's my voice, which is really, it's it's bizarre, but it's cool in another way.
Yeah, that's a really cool thing. I do. I have two daughters. They're 11 and 8. Well, she's almost 9 in another couple of weeks. And I didn't even think of that. I could like download all of my motherly wisdom and
Right?
stories and live forever for them. I'm sure they love it.
It is so crazy to think about. And I'm much older. My daughters are older. I'm 56. So it's they go like, oh my gosh, you're going to be here forever. But I want to go back to your miracle morning. I call it the miracle morning. I love that. And I do think that everyone needs to have this miracle morning. And when I started implementing things into my morning, starting with gratitude, starting with prayer, different things that I do, tell us what you do. I would love to hear that.
Yeah, absolutely. So what works for me is sitting in meditation. I have a meditation cushion. I put my heater on because I'm always cold. So I have like a warm, cozy space. And I usually play music. Sometimes I'll do a guided meditation with words cueing me through it. But the main practice that I have inside my meditation is an emptying out of letting go of all of those thoughts and worries and fears that can just swirl around in our heads, really releasing that out of my body, like feeling it go down and into the earth. So I feel cleaned out, like I shower on the inside. And then I bring in very intentional points of alignment. And this is a system that I teach inside my programs called Sacred Self-Alignment, where we focus on our vision, which I point at my third eye center, our voice at our throats, our values at our heart center, and our vibe down in our womb space. And so I'll take some time either putting hands on my body and feeling that point, or stoking it in some way, like picturing it as a light that's growing. But when I feel all of those points come online and sort of this channel of energy in my body, I know that like I am hearing and tapped into my highest expression and my self with a capital S, sacred self. And I am going to be so much more magnetic in anything I produce, anything I do for my business if I'm in that space, instead of just walking in my office door, rushing to my computer, opening my emails, feeling stressed, and then, oh yeah, I've got to write that email for that campaign we're doing, and bringing that energy into the communication, coming in with that like full body alignment just feels so, so powerful. And then sometimes for fun, I've got a tarot deck. I don't know much about tarot, but I'll pull a card and I'll do some research about what it might mean or what my interpretation is.
Yeah.
Just because, it's fun to see what feels like a sign, what feels like guidance.
Mm-hmm.
It brings a smile to my face and some joy to that moment. And usually the whole thing takes about 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. And then I get started with my workday.
I love that. I do love the tarot. I love horoscopes. I look at that daily as well. I even started once a week. This is funny too, but I've started using ChatGPT for my horoscope. So it knows like when I was born, the time I was born, and like all of that, and then pull 3 tarots for me for the week. And and I'm into numbers and the meaning of numbers. And when you wake up and you see signs of numbers. So all of that I use in my space as well. And one of the other things that I always share, because this was taught to me, part of that as well, and I'm very intentional with listening to meditations too, and I love that you do that, is also listening to my future life script. And, I had recorded on voice memo what my future life looks like next year and all of those feelings. So even when we have those bad days or those times where, we don't want to give it our all, when you listen to that, you kind of go like, wow, look at me, even though it hasn't happened yet. And you may not be living that purposeful life, but you're like, wow, I really am a badass, So how do you, because I know that helps me, but what do you do? Because we don't always feel like we want to show up. How do you overcome that?
Yes, that is. Well, first of all, I think it's normal, right, to have those cycles where you just have a down day and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't feel like doing this. There's days where I sit in meditation and it feels more perfunctory, like I'm checking a box, than really stoking my energy. But more often than not, I get a glimmer of that coming online energy, that's sacred self-alignment. And it's the more I practice, the more it sustains. But I would say for me, I know my best hours, my most creative, intentional hours are those morning hours. So I block during the work week, 9 to 11. No calls can drop in. I'm not checking emails. So right after I come out of my sacred morning practice.
Quick crown check, Queen. If you're vibing with this episode, you're exactly the type of badass I built my empire for. Whether you're building your fuck it fund, launching your brand, craving a midlife reinvention, or just want to look and feel like a million freaking bucks, I've got you. From merch that speaks your truth to digital tools, coaching, and yes, even collagen that slaps. I serve the sass, the strategy, and the sparkle to help women over 40 take up space and cash checks doing what they love. Head on over to reneecarbonefleming.com or tap the link in the show notes. Pick your flavor of badass and let's turn your midlife into your power era.
I go into my creative work, whatever I'm focused on, whatever's my intention of the moment. Right now, my big focus is visibility. How can I reach more people with my message? This message is so important to me. How can I share it in more places and more spaces with more women? And so I use those first 2 hours of the day to focus on visibility, to do outreach, to do networking, to pitch podcasts. That's how we connected. To do those things that are really going to move the needle on that timeline that I have self-chosen, that accelerated timeline of visibility. And honestly, like even if the day goes sideways after that, I feel accomplished. I'm like, okay, I'm proud of myself. I pitched 3 podcasts. I reconnected with an old friend who I hadn't talked to in a while. This feels really good. Even if everything falls away from this point, I know I did good work today. And so I think it's really helpful to define for ourselves what is our top priority of the moment and commit to that and make space for that intentionally on our calendar, because otherwise we get to the end of our workday and we're like, I know I was busy, but what did I do? What did I do that actually mattered?
Yep, exactly. But I love that you intentionally hold that time in your schedule to make yourself visible. A lot of people, right, especially women, don't want to put themselves out there. Right. So how do you teach them to do the outreaches, to do what it takes in order to build their business?
I think when you keep coming back to yourself, when you keep coming back to your vision, to the mission you are here to steward, you start to realize, and there's always a little bit of inertia we have to overcome. If we're not in the habit of doing outreach, it's going to feel uncomfortable at first. And part of it is getting in the habit of the habit. But I think that when we are really clear on our big vision, and the women I work with, they have big visions, they have big missions. Their souls are here to like move mountains. When you realize that your self-doubt, the imposter syndrome you're feeling is blocking you from the work you're here to do, it becomes easier to get out of your own way and you're out of your own head and instead just show up for the work, for the mission itself, instead of thinking, oh, who am I? Like no one wants to hear my voice. It's like, no, the work is bigger than you. You got to get out of your own way. You got to put it out there imperfectly and get in the habit of doing the things, being your own spokesperson, because in the beginning, no one else is going to do it for you. And if it's not something if you're totally not comfortable with that and you don't like that, then I would really feel into like, is building and growing a business something that you truly want, like at the depth of your being, because that it's just required to do that.
I love that. And you're absolutely right. I mean, it is going back to your purpose, your why. If that purpose and why is bigger than yourself, then you got to go do the work in order to get it done. Right. Yeah. What made you get into, I mean, okay, you transitioned from yoga to coaching, but what made you get into teaching yoga too? Was that always something that you did?
I taught yoga throughout my 20s, and then I shifted into coaching as I stepped into motherhood. There's, that's a huge threshold moment for many of us. And so That's when that shift really occurred. But what drew me to yoga in the first place was that feeling of alignment. And I didn't have the words for it yet. It was just like, oh my gosh, I feel so good after even a really exhausting yoga class where I'm really pushing my body to the limits. I feel so centered and so connected to myself. I mean, also on a physical level, it was regulating my nervous system. So that's always really powerful. And when we come back into alignment, that is regulating for our nervous system because we feel safe in our own bodies. And so that really attracted me in. I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel amazing. If I could help other people feel this way, this would be really important work to do. And, you follow the breadcrumbs and life takes you in different directions. And ultimately, what I've crafted is a career I never would have known was even a possibility or existed back when I was in my 20s as a yoga teacher.
Right.
But it's what, I believe in divine timing and perfect timing. And it's like, okay, I just turned 40 and I'm realizing I'm really feeling all the threads of the last 2 decades come together as I step into this journey ahead, this era ahead of me.
It really, it's funny how life takes you down certain paths. But if you listen to the universe or guide or spiritual, whatever people listen to, then the signs are there and it's going to get you to where you're meant to be. I'm feeling it even more so in my, 50. I just can't even believe that. It's just so crazy how quickly time flies. It's just nuts.
I think women, especially as we age, and it's such a disservice how our culture portrays aging, but it's truly a journey into the depths of our wisdom.
Yeah.
With every single year that we live, it's just, yourself more, you're more grounded, you're more connected, you care less about what other people think. I mean, I'm so fortunate that I have, dear friends who are 5, 10, 15 years older than me. And I see how radiant they are. And it helps me feel so excited about the years and decades ahead of me rather than feeling that resistance that, if you're just paying attention to social media, we might feel like, oh, I'm not young and, whatever anymore. It's really this opportunity to sit on our thrones.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, you know what? Okay, I'm 56. I just feel like I'm getting started. Like, this is fun. I not only do so many people my age, and obviously I'm a lot older than you, but, are afraid of the change in AI and technology and all this. And I'm like, screw that. I'm going to learn it. I'm going to embrace it. Not only am I going to learn, I'm going to teach it. I'm going to help other people. Right. And that's what you're doing is you're helping other people, which is driving your passion even more. Right. But what has been some of the, I can't say downfalls, but some of the that you went through either personally or in business that, keeps you going and learning?
Yes. I mean, I think if you're going to be, I was going to say on an entrepreneurial journey, but if you're going to be human, you just have to make friends with failure, right? Like if you're going to live a fulfilling life of growth and expansion, you also have to be okay with things not working. I mean, those pivot moments are always hard. I've been through a few pivots in my business, moving from yoga into coaching. That was uncomfortable. It was like, okay, I built this business, I built this brand, this identity around yoga. And now suddenly I'm having a new baby and I'm rebranding my business and I'm changing my offers and changing the way I'm talking about things. It feels really scary in those moments of there's no safety net. And you're just like, all right, this feels so true inside of me, but to everyone else, even people that I care about and trust, they're like, are you sure? Are you sure you want to do this? And then as I got further along and really building the business, making more money, growing my team, what I realized at a point was I thought I wanted like the high revenue numbers, grow to 7 figures, 8 figures. And then when I started to feel and check in with my nervous system about how it felt holding a business that was growing and growing and bigger team and more expensive expenses and ad spend and infrastructure and all of these things. It felt so heavy. It felt so not what I thought it would feel like having this growing business with bigger numbers and,
Yeah.
80K months and all of these exciting things. And that was a real wake up call to say to myself, what do I actually want? And what would actually feel good? And that prompted me to really lean out the business, release some team, to rethink the way we were using ads for lead generation, and to come back and bring my business close. It was sort of keeping it at arm's length of like, it's got so big and I'm trying to manage all the things and I'm the CEO and, all of those, exciting titles. I'm like, you know what? I really want to be in it. I want to hold it closer and to my heart and really serve my people in this really deep way. And so that was a huge transition over the last couple of years of coming to that realization and rebuilding differently and trusting that it was the right thing to do, because it was an internal knowing before any external validation came through. And but it feels so much better when you lean in and you honor those moments and you trust in yourself, and then the external mirrors back to you that it was that right choice, that right time, that right path. You just strengthen that self-trust in those moments.
I love that. I love the fact that you recognize that, okay, my happiness isn't tied to being this big, huge business that, again, expectations that we either put on ourselves because we're like, we're entrepreneurs. I have to be here. And you see all these people online and they're like, oh, we're going to grow here, 7 figures, 8 figures. And I applaud you. And that's so inspiring to actually listen to yourself and go, no, I'm happy. This type of business, XYZ, whatever that looks like, fills your cup. That makes you happy. That's the happiness you have with your daughters, with your family, your friends. And you're like, I'm good. So many people don't accept that. And they always, look at others. I always say, put your blinders on. Like, this is your lane, your life, your business. Forget about everything else. And like you said, especially with social media, it could be.
Yeah, social media is really designed to keep us in a cycle of not enoughness, right?
Yeah.
We see the strategy we lack, the money we don't have, the business we should want, and we invest in the program. We, sign up with the coach. We purchase that $2,700, $27,000, like these things. And often there's really big promises in a little amount of time. If you're going to make so much money in no time at all, and you're going to grow all these followers in no time flat, and then we don't do it, and we're like, I'm a failure. I failed again. Here I did it. I invested. I didn't get the results, and it cycles us deeper into self-doubt and feeling like an imposter. When we do our practices like we were talking about in the morning, and we come back into ourselves, we realize I'm safe and I'm okay and I'm good. Like who I am right now.
Yeah.
And if I choose, I can move towards something that's exciting for me, but it's not because happiness waits with that thing. Yeah. It's because I'll feel accomplished, I'll feel joy, I'll feel growth in the pursuit of it, no matter the outcome. And that's a huge shift, and not one that I'm perfect at all. But when I remember that that's the real way it's supposed to work, and the way that it feels better when I do that, it's it's such a huge sense of relief. It's like, oh my gosh, I get to feel good now. I don't have to wait.
Yeah, exactly. I get to feel good now. It's not in the future. It's today. It's this moment. So what is next for you? What do you want the audience to know?
That's such a beautiful question. Yeah, I mean, one of my biggest missions and visions right now is to speak more about this sacred self-alignment, as I've named it. Some people call it the flow state. Some people call it alignment. We all have our different names for what that connection feels like to ourself. And I really want to bring that into the business conversation, because right now, strategies rule. It's like, you need this system, you need this structure, you need this tactic. But if we're misaligned internally, it doesn't work. It's like we've got this great sheet music, but we're an out of tune instrument. It's not going to sound right.
Yeah.
And so if we work on that internal alignment, tuning ourselves, whatever we play is going to sound good. And that's really, I would love it if more women just came home to that truth, because I know how profoundly and deeply impactful it's been in my own life and my own business. And the women I've witnessed who have either worked through it with me or found it on their own, it's just, they're unstoppable.
Yeah. Yep. I love that. And where can people find you?
Yeah. So I love connecting with people on Instagram. I'm Cailen.Ascher over there. I write and share audio transmissions at The Self-Led Woman on Substack. And yeah, I mean, my website's my home base. You can find me in all the places through there, CailenAscher.com.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing your journey and sharing the opportunities that people can like learn from you and be connected with you. You could definitely tell that you're very centered and very happy with everything that you have going on in your life and just emit amounts of joy to others. I love that.
Oh, thank you, Renee. This is really a wonderful conversation. I enjoyed our time together.
Oh, wonderful. And thank you, everyone. Please go follow Cailen, go connect with her and become your centered or authentic self as well. And stay tuned for the next Unapologetically Badass. Be sure to like the episode and share it with others who need to hear Cailen's journey. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you on the next one. Wrap for today, Queen, but don't just walk away inspired, walk away activated. If this episode lit a fire under your fabulous ass, hit that follow button, leave a review, and share it with your fiercest ride or die. Your support helps this podcast reach even more women who are ready to reclaim their power. And hey, if you're ready to look, feel, and earn like $1 million freaking bucks, I've got an entire badass empire waiting for you. From confidence boosting merch to brand strategy, coaching, collagen, content, and everything in between, head on over to ReneeCarbonefleming.com or tap the link in the show notes. Pick your flavor of badass and let's turn midlife into your power era. Stay bold, stay unapologetic, and wear the damn crown.